Ready?
You're
Three,
just crack going.
2, 1. Oh, good stuff.
On a Sunday afternoon, with our glasses in our hands, the hops and barley bloom in a land of craft and hands. Every sip, a story shared. Review and taste we dare with our Sunday sips.
Recording?
Sunday sips. Every for a trip.
Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Sunday Sips podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Lucas. That's your other host.
Through the fire, Nick Woodard.
We got a good fire going, obviously. We got some new lights going. We're trying to make it more professional for all the viewers. We're actually getting into this one. Yeah, as the fire pops.
We have never been this well lit. I will
True.
say that.
True.
New mics are on the way, so look forward to that. But for now, we're rocking the lighting game.
Rocking and rolling. Today we got a brand new edition. I don't believe we've covered this brewery on the podcast,
Which is wild. They're kind of a local favorite for us.
Right. Well, I mean, we've gone through
outside of the Top Gun.
right.
They're kind of a local celebrity in that sense.
They are the newest, as far as I know.
Yeah.
In the local scene, Ramble West. They came into town like 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Right.
Opened very slowly. Didn't have AC in their joint. Everyone still went and celebrated them opening. Their beers are very good. If you get a chance in the Chico area, go check out Ramble West. They're off of the corner of 8th and Cherry, or 8th and. They're off the corner of 8th and something. 8th and Orange.
There you go.
Very, very good brewery. Very hometown people. They're super cool. Every time I go in there, they're very amenable, respectful and super homey.
They're kind people. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They really are. We're starting off with one of their flagship ones. We will get into more depth about their beers and stuff as we go on, because we want to cover all the local stuff.
Yeah, and they've built a really kind of robust lineup of beers.
Especially in the span of 2 years.
Yeah.
They've really gone.
They've done the work. They don't have that big of a system in terms of what they're able to brew, but they've utilized it very well to, I think regularly on tap, we're talking at least 8 to 10 different beers.
Yeah, I think the last time I went in there was at least 10.
Which for a brewery of that size is pretty remarkable.
At least 10 of their own.
Yeah.
Which, actually, I don't think they house any outside breweries.
I think they have a couple of ciders and stuff
Do you?
from other places, but in terms of other breweries, I don't think so.
So today, we're doing Poppy's Ale.
Poppy's Pale Ale.
Pale Ale. Yes, sir. This one was, me and Nick and I went in very early on their flagship launch and talked to a couple of the guys. This one was near and dear to their hearts. This is one of their flagship beers, just a regular IPA. So on their website, they have a website if you want to check it out, Ramble West Brewing.
.com. .org.
.com. So Poppy's Ale, Pale Ale, a very personal beer for us. Poppy's is a brewed in honor of a dearly missed friend and mentor. A sessionable pale ale bursting with flavor, showcasing a light toasted biscuit, starting that quickly gives way to grapefruit and floral notes. All 5% ABV.
Yep.
Drinking and heat.
Yep.
That's it. We did get we both can't remember because it was last year. They gave us a good story about
there's a lot of
Poppy's.
sentimental value behind naming this beer the way they did. I just don't remember enough of what they told us to be able to tell it truthfully,
Right.
and to do it justice. So I don't want to do that. But
On the
there is
pod.
a really cool story behind Poppy's.
Yeah. we'll get it and we'll share it with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for now, just know this is one of their flagship beers. We wanted to start near and dear to them, and then expand on what else they put out.
Okay, because they've got a ton.
They have a ton. Ready?
You're
Three.
just crack going.
2, 1. Oh, good stuff.
Did we
So-
talk ABV on this guy already?
So it's 5%. 5% ABV. I already have a little piece of charcoal in there.
Details.
So regular IPAs, we're going to cover a bunch of IPAs on this channel. Obviously,
They're just so
IPAs,
popular.
they are the real flagship of any, basically, homebrew. I'm getting a bunch.
Are you?
It's fine. Little cancer never
A little
went
sharp will
down.
never hurt nobody.
Automatically, the color of the ale is super noticeable, super IPA. The can, because we like our cans, is super awesome. They have like a bunch of like stitched pictures in there of like fishing and like lake scenes and stuff like that. Super cool can design. We've seen a bunch of their other stuff too, and it's honestly really cool. Their whole signature of Ramble West is that torch or
Yeah.
the lantern.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
That
Right
little
on, yeah.
that little symbol
Right
and
on the
lantern.
logo, yeah.
Yeah. And they put that in every design they have, and that's actually part of the story of Poppies, which we'll get into when we find out more details. It is very reminiscent of their whole brew story. So, but right now we're just gonna try the IPA, their flagship. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, fella. Oh man.
Pure IPA. I would say.
Yeah. That's there's no two ways about it. That is quintessential IPA.
Mm-hmm. Like-
Quintessential pale ale.
It doesn't taste like anything but an IPA, and I'm very happy about it. It's honestly like I've had IPAs, and you have too, that are very strong, very light IPAs. This is honestly, very truthfully, like right in the middle.
I'd say so. It's pretty square.
You think so?
I'm struggling right now because I keep thinking of pale ale versus IPA, and I think they're two different styles of beers. You might maybe correct me on this, because as we said from the very beginning, we're not experts. We just like enjoying beers. But I think there's a difference between a pale ale and an IPA.
An IPA.
I think an IPA traditionally has more hops because it's an Indian pale ale, and they had
Sure.
to add more hops to make it last longer because they would ship it over from India to England or whatever. They had to add more hops to make it more sustainable and last longer for the long boat rides over to England. So we might have to Google this in real time on the pod, because I don't want to give false information out, because I think about, we're looking at Poppy's Pale Ale.
Mhm.
Sierra Nevada's Pale Ale is not an IPA. It's a Pale Ale, I think. And
It is pale.
And maybe we cut everything out of this.
So IPAs have bigger hop flavors, slightly higher ABVs.
So I wasn't off. I was.
Which is true. I think what is a pale ale for Sierra Nevada?
It's their Pale Ale.
I know, but what's the ABV?
Oh, sorry.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought you were asking what the name of the Pale Ale. I was like, Kyle, it's the Pale Ale.
For-
Like it's the Pale Ale.
No, yeah.
I think it's 5.7. Don't quote me on that.
You think so? You want to bet?
Let's bet.
Brother.
Ooh, 5.6. 5.6.
Oh, you think 5.6?
Yeah, 5.6.
So,
Oh no. Oh no.
it is a 5.6.
Oh, let's go.
5.6.
baby.
Good
Let's
for you,
go.
dude. Good for you.
I had a lot of pale ales in my day.
So, I mean, this isn't too far off.
Mm.
Five. It's very light. It actually, I was gonna say, compared to a pale ale from Sierra Nevada, this is just under light wise, like harshness wise, like that
Bitterness.
really hoppy taste, but it still punches through in a way that I really like.
Yeah,
it really like shines in the way that like those citra hops and everything that's in this really like punches through, but doesn't give like a too much to where they say, oh, it has a citrus tone. Yeah. They shouldn't say that because it doesn't. Yeah. But you get very minor notes.
Yeah, I think about the description that they have online of this beer, which is, you know, in my own words, it's more of like biting into a biscuit, but also getting notes of more fruity flavors and the grapefruit and all that. And I think that really represents this well because it is kind of like a hearty sip at first, but then you get those notes to really round out the taste very well. On
the end of the sip.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to search for it. It like gives it to you. It presents itself to you.
I think in the act of full disclosure, we're all about peeling the curtain back whenever possible. We've it's been National Margarita Day today. So went out, had a couple of margaritas, stopped by our favorite tap room in town, had a beer. Shout out the Lost Dutchman.
Yeah.
Cullen, we missed you tonight.
We'll catch you.
We'll catch you next time. So, you know, we may be a little more susceptible to being like whatever beer we taste is going to be good beer at this point. But that being said, biases aside, it's a pretty darn good pale ale.
Yeah, I'm just trying to note in the flavors.
Yeah.
The grapefruit is apparent on the back end, like they said.
For sure.
It does hit you front forward with hops, which I look for in any IPA.
100%.
When I sip a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, I want that like not super forward punch, just like a punch of IPA or a hops, but not anything that knocks me out, like a like a torpedo does, right? But it does give way to those fruity back notes.
For sure.
Which it promises.
Yeah, that's what it said I was going to do, and it's
awesome. A little bit more about Ramble West, though.
Please.
Dude, these guys are awesome. We've been there. We went there a couple of times when they started opening up.
Yep.
They opened up. They even said to us like a little prematurely, but they wanted to get their beer out. Super respectful. They didn't have AC in their room.
That was the thing. When they first launched, it was pretty much the middle of summer in Chico, California. So if anyone who's ever been to Chico between the months of like May and late October, you're pretty good chance you're going to get something that's 95 degrees and above.
Oh, dude, hyper hundos.
And on the high end, you're going to get 105, 110. So they opened kind of right smack dab in the middle of that. So it was really a situation where you get in, grab a beer, and you get out before you melt. But the beer was good, and it kept us coming back.
It was awesome. They actually
people that were brewing the beer were super nice. Answered every question we had. We talked about the process that brought them from having this idea to bringing it to fruition and actually having a brewery. It was cool. I mean, it's always cool to be on the ground floor of something like that. And, you know, we were just people coming by to taste the beers.
Yeah.
But it still feels like we were early adopters and people who really took a liking to the beer before it started sweeping through town. Because now it's to a lesser extent kind of like Sierra Nevada in the sense that we've always joked that Sierra Nevada never needs a second tap room in Chico because every single establishment in Chico is basically a Sierra Nevada tap room. There's going to be 2 or 3 different Sierra Nevada beers on tap. And Ramble West, and to a different extent, Secret Trail are starting to get that same kind of recognition. You can go to like a
tap room,
poorhouse, or a different tap room in town, and find Ramble West on tap. Which is cool. Which shows how popular they've gotten in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, they made a strong name for themselves immediately.
100%.
Reading their story also, it doesn't surprise me
Sure.
because they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And I feel like even if I remember from, it wasn't even a year ago, it was a year plus ago, us talking to those guys, they were no strangers to brewing beer. So their story reads on their website, you can find this. A couple of West Coast guys walk into a brewery for a casual lunch meeting, almost a blind date. After one meeting, a journey begins. It's been a long and winding road, but we're over the moon, excited to share Ramble West Brewing with you. Enjoy the video below. So they have a video on their thing. Three main guys, Ryan, Brian, and Jim, on their website. That's who they tag. I believe from the pictures, we're not going to go into super detail. They have paragraphs here. You can look it up. We've definitely met Brian. Definitely met
Ryan.
Ryan. And I have definitely met Jim outside. I think he is the one from the picture. He's the one that delivers a lot of the beers to local bottle shops.
Yeah.
I actually have a story for the pod. I went to King's Liquor, which is right over here, next to the house, and he was delivering Ramble West beers, and I was buying something. This is during the sober time, so I was buying something sober for the non-alcoholic for the podcast, and I caught a glimpse of him, and I was like, oh, that's the Ramble West guy. And I decided to tell him, I was like, hey, man, I'm a big fan of Mexican lagers. And I said, dude, Farmers has a hold of this town with that Valle, which, as you guys know, Valle holds the top spot of my ranking currently. And I said, your guys' Elodia, which we will review on this podcast, a little spoiler, it is comparable. I said it's comparable, and he was over the moon. I saw his face. He was like,
that's high praise.
He was like, oh my god.
Especially coming from someone who knows beer in this town. That's high praise.
He said he looked at me and he was like, do you mind if I shake your hand? And I was like, absolutely, dude. And he's like, that is awesome to hear. Yeah. He's like, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
And then I told him I work like two doors down from their brewery, and he was like, dude, come in anytime, I got you.
That's very cool.
You know how it goes, dude. They're super nice guys, super like personable people. If you go in there and you sit at the bar, they will talk all day shop with you. They will just exude the knowledge that they know about craft brewing, and even if you're not one of those people, they'll find something to talk to you about. They're super personable people.
Right. And I think we should get to scoring this in a second, but we've talked a lot about the not just the beer itself, but the persona and the role that the brewery plays in the community. And I think that's kind of an important thing, especially for any up and coming brewery. Like, your beer needs to be good, but you also need to make a good impression in the community, especially in a community where there's already 5 or 6 established breweries. Like, they needed to do something that was going to make them, acceptable and stand out. And they've been, I think, super accommodating. They've partnered with a lot of local entities. I know for a fact that my bike shop of choice, North Rim Adventure Sports, every other week they do a gravel bike ride on Thursday nights. They end the night at Ramble West to have a beer. It's kind of a informal partnership in that way, but it's one of those things. Like, they're trying to be a part of the community, and when you're trying to build actively. When you're trying to build a brewery from the ground up, that's kind of one of the key components. You got to have good beer. Yeah. People aren't going to show up if the beer isn't good, and the beer is good. But you also need to do your part and show people that you care.
They know both sides.
Want to care back.
Yeah, they definitely know both sides.
Yeah.
I work at a local print shop in Chico, and we make their shirts. We make some of their stuff, their hats and stuff, and they are such good people to work with. I can't begin to tell you how nice they are to us. They're nice to the community. They give back. It's such a blessing to have a new brewery come in where the space is viewed as crowded, But there's always room for more breweries.
Just because of how
but
strongly this community feels about having good craft options.
Right, but if you are going to come in, you have to hit certain notes in the community, and I feel like Ramble West definitely hits every single one of those notes. They did it very fast, very thorough, and they did it. And now they're expanding. They're breaking out new beers and stuff like that. They started on their board with like 6, 8,
maybe 5
something
to
like
6.
that. Now I just recently went back. They have like 16. So
it's deep. The roster is deep for sure.
yeah. Don't worry, we're gonna cover a lot of those. We should score this though.
I'm saying let's get the score. We're deep into this thing.
Yeah.
Um,
So IPA,
Pale Ale.
go for it.
Just for clarity, Pale Ale, not an IPA.
Right, Pale Ale. Sorry.
Okay. I was just editing the episode, and it'll be out by the time we post this, but I was just editing our Paradise Brew Works episode, which
Super
reminds me a lot of this because we're talking about a new local brewery that's really up and coming, that's making great stuff. Paradise Brew Works was exactly that. I wanted to give him a great score. I did give him a great score, but it
I feel
wasn't.
like this is lighter than that.
Oh, it is.
That one.
It is.
Yeah.
The strawberry Paradise Brew Works strawberry basil blonde ale
Yeah.
came in at 6.6%, which is kind of nice and high for a beer like that. But it was fun. Where I'm going with this is I didn't score it as high as I could have because I knew there was a similar type of beer that I've had so much that I will score higher when we have it on the podcast.
Sure.
And in the same vein, we have not done Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Like
No.
I feel like that's such an easy mark for us that we haven't touched it yet.
We're gonna do it.
And we're gonna have to do it for the sake of the podcast
We're gonna do it.
to ground the podcast in what is like kind of the cream of the crop of fantastic craft beers.
We're gonna do it.
And I know what that's gonna score for me. I know what it is off the bat. I can't say it now, but I can tell you based off of what that score is gonna be,
Sure.
what this will be. So it's a 7.75
For you.
for me. It's a 7.75. Very, very good pale ale. Like super drinkable. It's got all kinds of flavor to it. We talked about that balance, the biscuit, the fruitiness. Like it's a really good beer, but it's also being brewed in a town that's known for maybe the best pale ale ever.
True.
Like
Very
ever.
true.
Like the one that put pale ales on the map.
On the map. Yeah.
So to try and make a name for yourself in the shadow of that, it's very hard to do.
Yeah.
So
West Coast Pale Ale with Sierra Nevada, and East Coast Lager with Sam Adams.
Yeah,
it's tied to the community.
So only because of that, only because of the stiff competition it faces, it's like, it's like being Kevin Durant when LeBron is still in the league.
Sure.
Like you're fantastic,
Still hard.
but you're also overshadowed by the GOAT.
It's like being Patrick
the legitimate
Mahomes.
greatest of all
It's
time.
like being Patrick Mahomes and trying to light a candle to Tom Brady.
Yes.
Except, hold on.
Yes.
I miss.
I like that
No,
reference.
no,
I
I don't, because this is better than Patrick Mahomes. This is way better than Patrick Mahomes. Anyway.
7.75 for me.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
Flat 7 only because we are going to cover more Ramble West beers as the pod goes on, and I feel like I'm going to give higher praise to other beers that I personally find more palatable. IPAs or IPAs and PAs are a flagship, just a staple, and I feel like that's where a 7 belongs in my mind, just a staple. There you go, you got it wrong.
Yeah. Rustle things up a little bit.
Everyone on the channel knows that I'm partial to the Mexican lagers, even lagers and like light stuff, whatever. I feel like I'm weird because I like the
You
lighter
go
stuff
both extremes.
and then the heavy stuff, and you float very much in the middle.
Yeah, I
And
love
you
the IPAs, I
still
love the
dabble.
IPAs. But
You still
yeah.
dabble, but that's where
But
your
you
heart
really
lies.
dig into the lagers, you really dig into the stouts,
Mhm.
and I really sit right in that
Right in
middle.
the middle.
I like the IPAs, I like the hazies, the 6 to 8% kind of deals, and you thrive in the 4s and you thrive in the 10 and above,
Yes, sir.
which is so interesting.
I love it. Listen, a 7 I still love. Buy this for me when I'm out and you see me, dude. It's great. There are other beers that I like that we're gonna cover. It's gonna be awesome. Get ready for the ride that you guys are gonna go on with us, where we talk about our local breweries, and we're kind of gonna, if we want to divulge this a little bit, we're kind of gonna want to go on a pattern of doing like a little local and then a little non-local and then a little local and then a little non-local. So we get to all the beers that we love and we want to rate, and then we get to all the beers that people can expect to buy in other stores. And
Yeah.
stuff like that.
At the end of the day, we're trying to get a good mix.
Right.
We're trying to get beers that are representative of what we drink, and then also beers that represent a chance for us to try new things, to try stuff that might be available to other folks that we just didn't have a chance to get locally.
Yeah.
So recently,
And just other popular stuff that you find in your local
100%.
store. So we hope you find this soon in your local store.
Yeah, I think they're on the verge. I mean, I think
They're definitely
in
on
the same
cusp.
sense that another local brewery like Farmers is already a regional
Everywhere.
thing.
Yeah,
I think Ramble West will be there pretty soon.
absolutely. Yeah.
All right, pal.
Cheers.
Cheers to the charcoal.
Just a little cancer. It's fine.
Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
Dude, it's so delicious.
It's very good.
It's so delicious.
It's drinkable. It's refreshing. It's smooth.
I would
You're still sitting at a step?
I'm still sitting in 7.
All right. Fair enough.
This is a very good camping beer
Oh yeah.
to the fact of like day camping, if that makes sense. So we go down. Jesus.
Yeah, we are.
So we go camping. This is a beer that Nick and I will have.
What in the hell?
Exploded. It's Pompeii. Nick and I will have like when the sun's up, we're like chilling in the water or whatever. Not necessarily a beer I want when the sun goes down. I want something a little heavier, but during the day, this is absolute fire.
Mix this
And
in with a couple of Valles and
Vibes, yeah.
some summer
And you don't
kickbacks.
need to be afraid of it because it's 5%.
Right.
So
Right.
it's honestly awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Sweet, dude.
Absolutely. Good
Yeah.
time. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. And let us know how you feel about it in the comments. Don't forget, you crack one for us, we'll crack one for you. Take care.
Cheers.
From citrus zest to dark night, we unravel flavors lore. Mosaic dreams take flight of IPAs and we adore. Raise a toast to what's new here in the world of craft beer with Sunday sips. Sunday sips. Every pour a trip with our Sunday sips. Each note we hear as we sip and cheer. Craft beer's near. Sunday's treasures clear with our Sunday sips. Sunday sips. Every pour a drip with a Sunday.